Hey everyone, welcome to the very first video edition of Therapy Tip Thursday. Now I realize that's a mouthful, so maybe we could call it something like Kim's Triple T. It's a little bit easier, rolls up the tongue better. Therapy Tip Thursday is something that I normally share in my newsletter that goes out about once a week or on my social media platforms. And it's a quick little blurb, something that's been on my mind, or a question that's been given to me by, or asked of me by a student or client about yoga therapy and getting into the nitty-gritty of that. So I thought it'd be a bit more fun and a bit more interactive if I videotaped it this time. And it's probably for the best anyways, because I'm a terrible typist. I probably make lots of spelling mistakes. I'm going to blame autocorrect every single time, but to avoid that, I thought I'd put myself in front of the camera and share you my Therapy Tip Thursday for this week. Now before I do though, I have to bring your attention to what I'm wearing today. And yes, I'm a Habs fan. They're in the playoffs and they're playing tonight, so go Habs, go guys. I know this will date the video, but the content will still be relevant, and I still have to give a shout out to my team. So if you're not a Habs fan, I don't really know why not. And if you are, then hopefully this will make the video that much more exciting for you. So today's TTP, Triple T, is about stress, but specifically our physical response to stress. So anyone who has experienced stress on some sort of level has mentioned that it does carry with it a physical response. It could be racing heart, could be tightness in the chest. Some people feel headaches, they get headaches, even so far as to saying that they develop migraines. And then a lot of people feel muscle tension and just stiffness in the body. And that's a true thing. It's not your imagination. And I think for the most part we could all agree with that because we have felt it in ourselves at some point in time. When there's a stressful situation at work, maybe we hold tension in our shoulders, and the next thing you know, our shoulders are up by our ears. Or if we hold tension in a way that causes us to collapse in and around, right, our body, and contract the front body, the muscles of the front body, then we can certainly understand that there is a physical and muscular response to our stress. And stress comes from a part of the brain, of the nervous system, called the sympathetic nervous system, or the fight or flight response. And I think it's kind of come to a point where it is overused all the time. Some of us are so prone to stress that we get stressed out over the smallest little things. So what should have been an evolutionary benefit, to help us run away from danger or avoid danger in some way, has now become this constant habit or habitual pattern in the body. And then where the muscular response comes in is, when we have that fight or flight response going on all the time, the muscular response goes with it. And what this does is it creates a pattern in the brain, and it tells the brain, okay, when A happens, B is going to happen too. So when there's a stress response, emotional stress response in the body, we're going to pair that with muscle tension or muscle tightness or contraction. And just so you know, after a certain amount of time, if this is the same pattern that goes on, then we're just going to run with this pattern. So the brain is pretty efficient, and it says, okay, I got this. Stress or no stress, right? We're just going to keep this pattern going just in case. And when there is stress, then we're going to be right in there already doing our thing. We want to be efficient, the brain wants to be efficient, and it doesn't want to have to recreate and reanalyze every single time. So it gets into these patterns, it gets into these bad habits, and then they're difficult to break. So it's not anything specific that you are doing. It's not that you're a bad person or can't control your stress. It's simply the way our bodies are hardwired to have this relationship kind of going on. So how do we break this cycle? One of the first things that I want you to do right now, as soon as this video is over, is to start to become aware of the patterns in yourself. So when you feel yourself becoming a little anxious and stressed out, be aware of how that makes you feel physically. Where do you hold tension? Okay, so number one, where do you hold tension? Is that in your face, in your jaw, perhaps in your shoulders, or is it really obvious in your back? So that's number one. Become aware of where your patterns are, where you hold tension. And then number two is to dive in a bit deeper and figure out, okay, what exactly, a little bit more, when do those things specifically come up? And what else are they paired with? So am I one of those people that collapses in? Do I almost go into a crunch position? Okay, what's I guess the movement pattern that goes along with it? Do I bring my shoulders up to the ears, right? Along with the shoulder tension. Are those two things, do those two things go together? Anything else that you can kind of feel and sense and become aware of in the body, okay? So number one is, where do you hold tension? Number two is, how does that come up in the body? What sort of movement patterns are associated with that? And then number three is to start to break the pattern. And all I would like you to do is take a few deep breaths in and out through the nose. And even if you are in a situation where you don't want things to be too obvious or too conspicuous, you can still take a few deep breaths in and out from the nose, as long as you don't have a cold. And then try to, with those breaths, try to reduce or eliminate that stress response, right? So get rid of the stress. And then see how many breaths it takes you to start to feel a physiological response, so a response in the body. How long does it take you to have that backache sort of chill out? And then the more you can do that, the more you can start to break the pattern, and the more you'll begin to realize that the stress doesn't control you, but you control it. Okay? And it can be as simple as awareness of your where you hold tension, your body movements associated with that, and then your breathing. Okay? So go ahead, have fun with it. Let me know how it goes. This is on YouTube, so there's always a place to comment at the bottom. Share with me whether or not you think this works or doesn't work. If you think I'm crazy, that's fine. Or if you've had experiences where this has been successful for you. And then we can have a discussion. Okay? So thanks guys, thanks for coming out for the first video edition ever of Therapy Tip Thursday. I'll be back here again next week, hopefully with a few more wins for the halves under their belts. Thanks guys.